Alright, we are here with another first round series. We have the Hippie playing the Zerg versus Kokanee playing Zerg, a ZVZ, and we do have a bunch of obs here as well, so hopefully they don't distract me too much, but I will definitely be reading their chats as well. ZVZ is rare. Not alive, buddy. Yeah, so we got a ZVZ going. DinGo going to be Zerg versus Zerg. Yeah, super rare, like I said before. I just had to reset what I was thinking there. I imagine both players are still going to go for the choke here. I wonder if their overlords are going to collide. I agree. Yep, both players gonna go for that hatchery. Korean Coal Def Games is good for a live stream. Yes. Okay, dokie. So we'll see where the players decide to differ. The mirror matchup, everything going pretty mirror-y now. DinGo getting that pool up a little bit quicker than Hippie. The overlords are getting close to each other. Once the overlords see each other, we'll see exactly their game plans. They are coming in contact. This is the moment of truth when they are going to realize that it is a ZVZ. Both players now going to see that they are up against a Zerg, and we are going to see how this affects the game. The earlier, the better. Hippie is staying lame, not something that he prepared for. ZVZ, yeah, and these can always be super interesting. They can either go really quickly, or they can take a long time if you get into that swarm mess that can happen. So we will see what they decide to do. Gangster is still going for that sunken at the front. Both players are still going to get that additional sunken colony. I guess you do want that just in case the other player decides to do some kind of Ling sunken rush on you. I'm not sure if these are Zerglings or what. It looks like they are. He did stack them up a little bit, saving up for 4 Zerglings. So he's going to have 4 Zerglings out on the map. His Overlord is going to see that he is going to be up against a single sunk. This Overlord is also going to see that some Zerglings are on the way. So they're both going to be, once again, aware of everything that's going on. DinGo going to send that Overlord right into the... Both players are actually going to send their Overlords right in the base. We do see another hatchery from DinGo before Hippie. Hippie lagging behind a little bit. Producing some Zerglings of his own. Not wanting to let those Zerglings run by. A second and third hatchery going to go up here at the top. This time DinGo lagging a little behind on that. DinGo somehow does have a 3 supply lead at this point too. I'm not sure exactly, just better macroing maybe behind that. Okay, no, they're pretty much evened out. Okay, they are all evened out. Never mind. I'm reading too much into that. Well, I guess Hippie did get a second sunken colony as well. That is a slight difference. So he's going to have less drones, but maybe he made less lings, so it's going to even out once again. It's hard when you can't see the drone count. Gas starting though now. Both players started gas at the same time. So yeah, everything's super duper similar here, and they're both going to see each other, are kind of mimicking each other as well. No real threats to anybody going on. We'll see if one player decides to go Muta and if the other player decides to go Hydraless. That will be a determining factor of how this game goes as well. I feel like Mutas are a better option as a are just so much more mobile, but you do have to worry about mass of Hydras, because mass Hydras versus mass Mutas definitely not what you want as a Muta player. You want to be able to snipe off some Overlords and harass the main, or potentially just pick off the main and then transition back into Hydra Lurker, as that is going to be the best option with those Defilers. That is how the late games typically go. With some Guardians, sometimes sprinkled on top as well. I will see this definitely looking like to go into the late game. We do see the Hydralist Den and an Evo Chamber thrown down, so maybe DinGo gonna go for those Mutas instead. Couple of sunken colonies, Zerg creep colonies going down here as well. So Hippie looking to play a little bit more defensive going into the Hydralisk, while DinGo does look like he is going to go for those mutas. So we don't know for sure, but I do believe that is what is going to be coming out from DinGo. We'll see once that layer is complete. Does have his 3 gas down as opposed to 1, which is also other indicators of what you need to do. Need more gas as a muta builder. Oh, that spore is actually going to take out an overlord there. Always, yeah, a little bit ahead in drone, but then they do always even out. I read into that a little bit at the beginning as well. His layer is now done, but I don't see the spire. I think this guy's going to make a spire. Okay, no, we do have a spire down. Just did not see it right away. Both players opting to get that side hatchery as well to help with any kind of gas deficiencies that they may have. A third sunken colony was actually built. And okay, so both players now actually massing up sunken colonies as well, getting their hatchery numbers up high. But the main difference is it's going to be Hydras versus Mutas. So we are going to see that battle and how exactly it is going to unfold. The Mutas are going to rely on a little bit more micro. Queen's Nest going down, so he is going to be looking into going into the Guardian tech, perhaps a Greater Spire. That can also be very good versus Hydra's pre-Hive tech, because once those Defilers come out, that's when the game can get a little bit interesting. Niduses and mass drops are all something that can be utilized here. Interesting placements of these gas here, but I guess it's not going to matter too much. They are all effectively collecting. Hydra's Den just finishing up. I believe we're going to see a fairly quick hive unless he's going for... Oh no, there we go. Quick hive. Not going for any Overlord upgrades. And Teal's OV coming in here to check out exactly how many sunken colonies are placed for DinGo. DinGo is going to want to get a lot of sunken colonies to protect him while his mutas are harassing on the other side of the map. Doesn't want to die to any counterattacks. Hippie prepared though for this and is getting a lot of spores down around his main. Not going to let his main get sniped. Also getting a spire of his own. Queen's Nest, so he is going to look to get his hive. Mutas being produced now. A couple of Scourges going to come out to perhaps pick off this Overlord that he knows is out here. But does just miss it. The range on Scourges aren't very good at all. Map control right now definitely in DinGo's favor. He's a lot less scared to put those Overlords out on the map, since he is going mutas and would rather a muta fight, I guess, than that. Weird plays hatchery here as well, just a little off-centered. But we're going to see those mutas come in now for the first time, and we're going to see how the defense for Mr. Hippie goes. Does have a decent amount of spores. Spores are pretty good, especially versus these kind of smaller numbers of mutas. Going to see that gosu muta micro here picking off some of these Hydralisks here. They do outnumber them. Going to run into the spore detection. Queen's here looking to ensnare some mutas, which is always a good call. I like that by Mr. Hippie here. Macroing back at home, getting that Greater Spire. So yeah, both players still fairly even. DinGo, I guess, is actually way ahead in supply. That's just that extra APM he has that does pay off in the long run. You're seeing a lot more AFK larvas here for Hippie than you are for DinGo. And yeah, your larvas can only produce as quickly as you're spending them. So you can actually get ahead with less hatcheries if you are constantly using those larvae the second they spawn. Getting the rest of his gas up here. It does have a double layer hive, so he's going to be potentially thinking about going for some drops here. Can be risky. Continuing to just mass up mutas is Mr. DinGo. A little bit of lag there, but not going to be too big of a deal. Finally going to find that Overlord. Throwing down some more spores here and massing into Hydralisks. Getting that second Spire and his Greater Spire up and going. But he is down 40 supply now, so DinGo could just win off of pure quickerness than Mr. Hippie. These matchups are very volatile though, so anything can change. If he gets a one good ensnare around these mutas and he gets a good surround on the Hydras, I think he will fail on main. is going to go for a main snipe. Then Hippie going to win on counter. Kokanee calling it right now. Isn't going to overcommit here. Does have his Defiler mount ready as well. So Hippie doing a pretty good job here. It's going to be Mass Guardian, so it isn't going to be a main snipe with just muted. It's going to be a main snipe with a bunch of Guardians. That's like 36, almost, probably close to 36 Guardians being produced here. And they aren't going to have the longest path here. He needs his Defilers to come out ASAP. It might be GG, I agree, unless these Defilers. Needs Defilers. Or I guess even mutas may help here. But the Guardian's coming in now. Yeah, he might be producing a mutas. That would be help a lot, as there isn't any. I guess he is just producing some Devourers here. He is producing some mutas here. 24 mutas looking like they're about to spawn. He's going to have to send these Devourers in here to help slow down this Guardian mass here. A lot of Devourers being produced here, so the Devourers are going to do pretty good versus these mutas, unless these mutas just choose to ignore them and just kill off the Guardians, which he is doing. He is manually clicking on these Guardians and picking them off, trying to get that Defiler dead. Definitely not going to be a good trade, though, for DinGo. Investing a lot of that early gas right there, and it's all going to be thrown away. And meanwhile, Hippie has a massive amount of hatcheries back at home. Definitely is ahead in that. DinGo going to throw up some sunken colonies, it looks like, out front, but he is over sending these drones. A couple of Guardians do still exist, but Muta's just massing out from Teal here. Yeah, doing a pretty good job defending. I think he is going to win in this battle. He has taken a supply lead, and then now DinGo is going to have to face off versus some mutas of his own. He is going to have to mass up some hatcheries back at home. Is very far back in supply, and yeah, Teal is definitely going to hold on to that and win that pretty decisively, hardly taking any damage at all. Very well played by Hippie. Very nicely timed out those mutas coming in just in the nick of time to protect against those Guardians. Very close game so far, and Hippie doing a great job. Playing a little bit smarter, perhaps, than Mr. DinGo. DinGo actually was sending those guys up here to start collecting even more gas. Wants gas. He needs to build some more hatcheries, though, I think. Because Hippie can start to outmass him if he does kind of just continue his momentum forward. We're going to find a big pile of overlords here, which are actually going to possibly supply stuck DinGo in a very scary time. He doesn't have a ton of larvae. Still choosing to go into Guardians or Devourers. There is 2-1 on the Hydras, which is what Rambo is talking about. And looks like he is going to pick off more Overlords. Both people now supply stuck here. We'll see if Hippie decides to go for the main or if he's just going to continue to pick off Overlords. Very nice job from Hippie, and he's actually going to spawn a bunch of Guardians now on top of DinGo and going to try to do a counter, do exactly what he just tried to do with him. He is bringing up some Hydras here as well to try to defend this. The spots are going to be hard to deal with here. DinGo getting just enough Overlords now is going to be able to start massing up once again, but still he does not have as many hatcheries as Mr. Hippie, and the Hippie does not have to move very far to get to this. Only 4 or 5 spores really stopping this from happening. Going to go with the Devourers, going to be the weapon of choice. He is clicking on that main, so he is going to go right for the min bash. The hatchery at 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 500, 400, 300 HP is going to hold on to his main just barely. 222 HP. One muta here remains, and he is starting to counterattack on the other end. Hippie, though, has transitioned into Swarm, and yeah, once again, the tables have turned, just barely holding on to that main. I feel like Hippie has to mass up another group of mutas and go in here and try to eliminate that main that he's invested so much into killing. I guess they've kind of exchanged blows, though, once again, but now DinGo is going to have a gas advantage with his little expansion up here, which could be helpful, but I don't know how much it's going to matter, as Teal does have his his lurker or his defilers and swarm out and ready. It is what he is going to try to do. He's going to try to finish off that main. Not much protecting it now. Didn't decide to mass too many more Sunkens around or anything, and he has left a lot of his units over here across the map. Hippie still continuing to mass up mutas, and mutas just seem to be a better choice right now than these Guardians coming in for this main, and these mutas are 100% going to get this. Not much health left on that main, and the hive is going to go down. So Hippie taking a potential lead in this best of 3 here, looking really good to get himself a win. Nice move by him to get that main, and now they are calling teal as the winner. Purple does need to get some damage done back at here. Not many spores here, so if he does try to go for a mineral bash with his mutas, it could possibly work. He still does have a considerable bank here, but he is opting not to do that as of right now. Very close stuff. We can see that these Guardians are making no progress against these swarmed Hydralisks here. Trying to inch closer and closer, but Teal just having just enough to continue to mass up. It's interesting that he continues to go Guardians. I feel like a Mutabomb could do the trick. Lots of Scourge coming out here to deal with these Devourers. Not a bad choice there. Guardians and Devourers still opting to be the weapon of choice for DinGo. Yeah, continuing to spend all of his gas on Guardians, and the mutas are, with their high numbers, having no problem. Yeah, his units are 0-0. That's what he's talking about. His mutas are 2-2 though, so his mutas definitely have a 1 upgrade lead on him. But if it does transition into the ground, it is going to be a little bit more difficult. More Guardians coming in here, and Hippie is getting low on supply, but there we go. We just see all those larvas now massing up, I think, into Hydralisks. More than enough mutas here once again to continually pick off these guards, and these trades are not going in favor of DinGo. DinGo just, yeah, being a little bit, yeah, not really wanting to change up his ways. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Kokanee wanting to see some plagues go down on these massive amounts of air units. Papa Dog calling GG, thinking that it is game over, that Hippie has won. I believe that's who they imagine is winning this game right now. DinGo going forward on his not many hatcheries and his no main is just going to be really difficult to keep up, especially when you keep throwing away units like this. And looks like Hippie is going to secure himself the first victory of the series, and potentially just go for another upset in this tournament. Upset City, everyone showing that they can beat anybody in a best of 3. Because Hippie, yeah, Hippie is definitely going to win this game. I agree with the crowd that this is GG. There is a Nidus going down, so he's looking like he is going to try to Nidus. Not many spots for him to do that. Going to find this gas expansion. He has to see that gas expansion. There he goes. He does see that gas expansion. Going to go up here and destroy all of this, which is helping out DinGo a lot right now. Going to try to save it. A Nidus for Purple as well. And Purple does have a Nidus down, and he does have it in Teal's face. So this could be what he needs to turn this around right now. Is going to load up here while Teal is a little distracted up here. Not coming out of the Nidus. What's happening? He is going into the Nidus. There we go. Now he is going into the Nidus, but the Nidus is now being focused. A little late on pushing units through there. Not going to be what he needs to turn this game around. He did have a lot of lurkers and everything ready to go in there, but not going to happen. And you can see DinGo really struggling to keep himself a supply lead, and really just, well, not even a supply lead, just a high number of units as his minerals are just getting lower and lower. Going for this massing strategy is not going to work. Wondering why he took so long to get some stuff into the into that Nidus there. These lurkers coming forward. Now going to burrow here. Now these Hydralisks, they don't look like they have speed or range. I don't know, they just seem like really slow Hydralisks. The Swarm gonna go down with the Lurker and Hydralisk, which is a pretty good unit combination. Meanwhile, Hippie has a lot of supply up here, while Hydra is going pretty all in with that Lurker Defiler Hydralisk here. So he is not giving up, and he still has an opportunity to win this game, I guess. Right when everyone thought that he was kind of down and out, the Lurker Hydralisk is going to break through the choke, and there isn't much that you can do versus if he does get his Defilers right in a very nice position. Gonna throw down another Swarm. There isn't many units. Those Zerglings can shoot, but they are super weak versus super weak versus Lurkers, obviously, as they like to pile up a lot. Picking off the Defilers, which is a very good move. Using those Guardians, sacrificing their life to get that, but this could be maybe a little bit too much. He needs to reinforce with some of these Defilers. Meanwhile, he is counterattacking over here. A couple of Devourers trying to pick off that layer. He needs to send these those Defilers down, though. These Guardians doing an okay job here with these Lurkers. He lost his Defiler. Yes, he did. He needs to send one of these two Defilers out here. Using these Defilers to protect himself at home. Guardians are going to be pretty good versus these Hydralisks, but there isn't much behind. With these reinforcements coming on, he is going to be taking out a lot of this production, and there might just be enough Hydras to take all of this out. Slowly moving forward, he did defend that at home as well, so even though he's only at 128 supply, he has all the momentum on his side, and right when we thought it was over, DinGo looks like he is going to win. Rambo LMAOing of how suddenly that turned over. Just one really swift attack after that Defiler failed, and he is somehow going to find a way to defeat Hippie, which is absolutely crazy. The Defilers have rejoined, and that Defiler Hydralisk, which I was talking about earlier, is an OP late game strategy to go. It does defeat all other armies for the most part. Almost agreed upon late game strategy. Defiler, Lurker, Hydralisk, and he is going to get those those Lurkers now in range of all of that, and GG is going to be called, and DinGo is going to win that very close game. Well played by both players. I thought Hippie for sure had that, but DinGo's going to pull it off without a main. And yeah, we'll jump into game number 2, where now Hippie is on the ropes. Alright, we're jumping into it. Game number 2 here. Hippie needs to win to survive. DinGo one game away from advancing and facing his rival Kokanee. They have been BMing each other all all pre-game for this. While we were waiting for Hippie, DinGo and Kokanee were trying to get a 1v1 going, and they have been BMing. DinGo promises to eliminate Kokanee from the tournament. No luck for DinGo with spots. I think this is like the 4th or 5th time, including last series, that he's got Zerg in a middle position. So very bad luck for him. And we'll see how she goes. It's going to be up against a Protoss. So Hippie does have the matchup and the positions to win this. Trying to talk and read at the same time is slowing me down a lot. Don't know. I missed something that they said. Means lower level players never win, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. He's talking about the new 4-player spot, and the fact that someone who's less skilled can beat someone higher skilled if they get these shitty positions like this. Any game can be won. Hippie gonna go for that Nexus first, while DinGo just going for that standard 1 hatch into pool. Gonna get that Overlord. Actually, no, Hippie not going to go for the Nexus first. Actually going to go for that 4 gateway at once, so all of your Zealots pop out at once strategy, which is pretty good. Also gets your economy pretty decent as well, because you are just collecting for that much longer, uninterrupted. So he is going to be looking to apply some pressure here early. We'll see if DinGo gets greedy on his choke or not. Because, yeah, well, he actually, luckily for him too, his Overlord is actually going to come in here and scout him right away. If he doesn't go downwards and goes upwards, he is going to get vision on everything that Mr. Hippie is doing. Doesn't look like he's saving up any larva for Zergling, so he isn't going to do that. He hasn't been scouted yet, so it's a pretty good chance he's not against a mid build. But still, nonetheless, he is going to send out 2 drones, which is good for him, out to block his pathway inside of his base. Going to make it easier for those Zerglings to stop any kind of Zealot run-bys. And the scouting now is just going to start for Hippie. Everyone I see your opponent at 3 or 9, you will be happy. DinGo didn't seem probe come out. I unvised him. Now he is going to see the probe out. Sees the second one. Is going to know he's up against a Protoss, and is going to be pretty sure that it is in that spot. Going to send these Zerglings out, so maybe he doesn't know, but he will find out for sure once this Zergling goes in here. May possibly run into these probes and pick them off. Nope, he is on just moving himself. This Zergling does get in, but it has stopped. It has gone AFK here for a moment. It needs to run into that base. It's going to see all of these Zealots, though, and is going to warn his brothers, maybe even just retreat these Zerglings back at home. Doesn't have any Zerglings, so if Hippie kind of goes in the right spot, he is going in the right spot. He does know now that his opponent is over here, and he is going to be looking to do some damage. Only 2 Sunkens currently spawned right now. A third one is about to be produced, and 2 more are on the way, but there isn't a ton of Zerglings here either, so a possible run-by is definitely in a possibility here. These Sunkens look like they're going to finish just in time, and DinGo is going to hold this without his wall breaking. More reinforcements are coming, so maybe I spoke too soon. Making a lot of Zerglings. Is going to have to really rebuild this this wall off here. 5 Zealots still alive, and more streaming in here. So Hippie once again getting himself in a really good position. Looks like that Zergling was actually attacking his own Sunken, but going to rebuild once again. And the next round of Zealots are coming in here and going to keep that pressure on. Not going to let DinGo remass up. A couple of Zealots do get by. DinGo having to invest a lot into holding this. Hippie smartly, slowly transitioning out with the Nexus as well. These Zealots, though, are going to have to be dealt with. There is a few Zerglings, and the Sunken just finishes. Okay, so he is going to be able to deal with this without substantial damages. Does lose a single drone there in his escape. 2 drones, nicely done by Hippie. Going to take out 2 drones here, and there is a little bit of a pathway still here that he's going to have to clog up with his Zerglings before he can think about transitioning. 3 gas getting thrown down for Hippie now as well. He has Cybernetics core, so he is going to start teching. These Zerglings look like they are going to try to run by. Maybe a misclick, and Hippie is going to see that as an opportunity to run in here once again. Opting to just go for a full run by, but these Zerglings do come back. I think the Zerglings with this single Sunken are going to be, again, enough to defend. These Zealots are very, very hurt, and this Sunken can kind of protect everything. The Zerglings do get in a good position here behind the Sunken, blocking the way, and yeah, he is going to deal with that yet once again here. So DinGo slowly but surely stabilizing. He did have to build a bunch more Zerglings, so I'm going to see also that there isn't much at home, so if he can get some of those Zerglings to get run by without getting any counterattack, he can potentially get some work done on those probes. A cannon now going down. 2 cannons are going down, knowing that a run by is something that's on DinGo's mind, as he already attempted to do that while he previously ran by. And also a pylon up here. They're going to be looking to probably throw down a proxy robo to get it there that much quicker, while taking a risk that it doesn't get detected by any overlords. And Zerglings fighting against these Zealots, trying to get a run by on them, but not being successful. DinGo starting his gas now as well. Did start another additional hatchery. And we'll see exactly how Hippie wants to transition. There is going to be a little bit of a lull here where he's not quite macroing. Hasn't thrown down this Robo either up here. This Overlord is maybe going to potentially scout it as well. Robo does go down now. This Overlord is coming right for it and will be easily taken out if he does see that. Can send just some Zerglings up there, and he is going to send 2 Zerglings up there. He does spot it, and that is going to be something that Hippie can consider canceling. He doesn't want to waste all that gas, but he's going to throw in a cannon. Overlord is going to spot it, is going to start clicking away at that robotic facility. Probe is going to run away. Sending a single Dragoon up here to try to save that, but I don't know if it will be in time. This cannon also spawning. Zerglings are on a mission to take that out. And looks like they are going to be able to do it, even potentially getting that cannon also. So just Hippie being a little slow on reacting to that. DinGo nicely getting that scene with the Overlord, because that drop would have been coming in fast and furious. And now DinGo is getting into his mass Hydra phase here. Setting up a lot of Zealots and Dragoons to deal with those couple of Zerglings. Going to split up his army a lot here. Massing up into his mid-game Protoss. Looking like he's going to invest a lot into a ground attack here. Massing a lot of units while not teching too much. I guess most of his tech investment did get just taken out there. DinGo has yet to add many more sunken colonies. I feel like these are all going to be Hydros that he's going to be building. But this is a pretty big Protoss army. His Zealots are going to have to help out defend this. They need to work together with those sunken colonies to try to get these Zealots taken out ASAP. But that is a lot of units. No speed on these Zealots. If this were Zealot speed, I feel like this could have been a GG push. Still going to take out a lot, but luckily for DinGo, in that timing on his massing of Hydrolith is going to come out just in time. And it'd be interesting to see what his drone count is, because I feel like he may need to rebuild some of those sun colonies. Either that, or he's just going to go all in on this push, this counterattack, which could be a mistake, depending. It's always risky, because if you mass up a bunch of Hydras and it doesn't kill your opponent, or at least do a lot of damage, you are going to have to spend a lot more larvae and resources building more Hydras just to defend against these drops, instead of teching towards those Guardians or something else that you may want to tech into. Dragoons down here trying to pick off any stray units here, looking for Overlords. Is going to spot a couple Overlords over here and leave that, open up that spot for a couple of drops. It looks like it's just going to be that Hydralisk mask from DinGo. I'm going to try to push out here before any Storms or Reavers can get made here. And DinGo is going to definitely just go for it here. No Heist Templars or Reavers out for Hippie, so no splash damage. And this is like, what, like at least 36 Hydras here that are looking to just GG this game here. Versus Dragoons, they aren't too bad, but a couple of speed Zealots may help this, but that is a lot of Hydralisk here. And yeah, Hydras do pretty good here. There is going to be a lot of gateways going to build some reinforcements, but if they're not going to work together, he doesn't save these Dragoons, he could be in trouble. And it looks like Mandingo may just have enough to push through here. 1 DT out is also going to be helpful, as there isn't any Overlord or Overlord speed out quite yet. Going to try to push towards this main, I think. Looking to pick off the robotics facility and the robotics support bay. Just going to try to reset that tech before these DTs save his life here. Is going to be fairly successful on this. We'll see what else he decides to pick off. Going to try to run away. It's a pretty decent trade for the most part. Not going to have to worry about drop for a little while, and that is the main thing that he is going to be worried about. No Queen's Nest yet either, so he did invest a lot into that push. Going to really need that Overlord speed before he can continue on too farther. Sending out some Scourge, as he did see that there were 2 dropships that were spawned. Going to try to pick those off. I don't know if he is going to. Luckily for Hippie, he did put them in a pretty nice position underneath all of those tanks. Overlord range is now ready. So if he decides to amass up more Hydras and move out, it could be a little bit more successful. Not going to at least be thwarted by DTs. And the High Templars are pumping out though now. And that is going to be a problem. Storm does counter Hydras very nicely. Going to start trying to build some cannons up here as well, while he it has lacked on the gateways. Could have been building gateway through all of that. But obviously a little worried of just trying to survive there. Those DTs just letting him hold on by the skin of his teeth. And DT's moving out on the map. So Hippie is going to survive once again. Going to throw up a lot of gateways. And he is in a pretty good position here to win this game and keep himself alive. Playing maybe a little bit too cautious right now at the moment. He can still be applying pressure. He has to know that DinGo just invested a lot in that Hydra push, and it didn't do a crazy amount of damage, so he should have an advantage at least on the ground. Maybe hurt your tech a little bit. Not the most amount of sunken colonies here either, so this could still do some work, this push. DinGo not at the highest supply. Rust Coal is online. Interesting. Oh yeah, because they play JH. Right. Right. Going to push forward here with a lot of Dragoons and Storms here. Lurkers now just being produced. No Guardians. Going to be out for a long while. So luckily for him, a couple of these High Templars do actually come in here and just sacrifice themselves, which could be super duper helpful. A couple of these DTs go undetected too for the longest time. Right at Overlord range, they do finally go into some Overlords. And it looks like DinGo is going to be able to hold once again, really evening out that supply. Not going on a crazy amount of Hydralists, saving up some mutas here for the guards. A couple of Storms do go down there, but there could have been a lot more. So not the greatest of attacks here. The upgrades are at 110 versus 111 right now. So no advantage to anybody for the upgrades. DinGo getting his Greater Spire, going to throw down a couple more creep colonies, it looks like, around the map, and get his Defiler Mound, as well as another Evil Chamber to start that melee upgrades as well. Another push coming in here. Hippie is maxed out once again. I don't see an Observer, so he's going to have to rely on Storm to kill off these Lurkers. Taking out a lot of Sunkens. It would be nice if he was accompanying a drop or two with all of these while he's doing this, because there isn't the most amount of drop. The drops can absolutely do some damage to DinGo right now, who is slowly massing up into his ideal, his ideal late game Zerg. It looks like DinGo once again is just barely going to have enough. Once these Guardians spawn, which he is not yet building, just rebuilding some of those sunken colonies to keep himself alive. He is going to, he's going to have 12 Guardians soon once he realizes that he needs to form that his Greater Spire is done. Making more and more units. These Storms, though, are absolutely devastating. That's why it was such a big hit that he threw away so many in that early game. Like some drops right now could totally win the game for Hippie right now. If Hippie was just adding a couple drops into this play. I know he built some drop ships, but I don't know where they went. There we are. They're just filling up now. So he is going to go for a big drop once and for all. And if this lands, this could be devastating. Throwing in 2 Observers into a bunch of Spore colonies, not what you want. DinGo moving out a little bit, is morphing in those Guardians now. Just needs to really start using all of his larvae. Just picking off a lot of these high Templars here as well, so his counterattack could be deadly if this drop does not do something. He's going to have to get this drop some damage. His Guardians are going to spot it. All those Scourge coming up here, going to try to pick off as many of these dropships as they can. The money one isn't dropped, though. He is going to storm once, only going to get 4 or 5 kills there. Nice pull by DinGo, going to defend that nicely. But meanwhile, Hippie is trying to move out. DinGo has yet to really max out completely. This is going to be a tough... it's going to be tough for Hippie now to win this game. He's kind of thrown away his maybe a little bit of advantage that he did have at the beginning, throwing away maybe a little too many of those too many of fuck, I completely forgot what I said after I read that message by Coconos. And Storm's going down, picking off those lurkers as he threw away his observers. Making progress, but I don't know what DinGo's doing with all of his larvae, what he's focusing on right now. Larvae always seems to be empty when he could be maxing out, but I guess maybe just microing his heart out right now. We can look at the DinGo cam. Okay, he was expanding down here. Trying to get some more gas. He loves his extra gas. Really goes for them. Now that the Defilers are out, though, it is going to be tough. Nice little storm, though, and then run underneath by those Dragoons. Nice little move before those Defilers get pulled out. We still are on the DinGo cam. DinGo is focusing on this. He's losing a bunch of Overlords, so he needs to rebuild the Overlords right now. Yeah, this game is just super close here. These Corsairs just picking off more and more Overlords. He may potentially get supply stuff. Trying to move forward past these lurkers, not the best idea. Looks like a couple more High Templars are also going to die. Okay, he does get one storm off, not where he necessarily would want it, but does at least storm before he dies. These Corsairs, nice little addition here too. Pick off those Overlords and get him supply stuck for a little bit. But DinGo once again is going to survive. And yeah, no drops still have landed. So DinGo still is in a very good position. Just has to get one mass attack off. Did send some Zerglings out here on the map. They are going to see that this next attack is coming in. These single file Dragoons, excuse-moi, with no observer. Once again, going to have to depend on his High Templars to kill that. Only storming one, though, and not taking out any. These lurkers are going to devastate all of these Dragoons. Hippie not paying attention, just moving those units in, and that is going to be terrible. Oh, I guess he was actually dropping in the meantime. I missed that effing drop, unfortunately, but we did see the blood shatter there. So he sacrificed all those Dragoons as just a distraction to get that drop off. I don't know how many drones. He full. They're saying he got all of the drones there. Observer going to have to move forward here. Luckily to keep that alive. DinGo going to have to remake all of those drones. Hippie's going to have to continue to storm drop, though, if he wants to capitalize on that. All that he did just get there. DinGo remaking all of his drones here. Does have a pretty good hatchery count now. It is getting up there. The Observer is out, so now these Dragoons can fight fairly cost efficiently versus these lurkers. Not the most amount of Sunkens are here, but there should be enough to hold on. Building some lurkers back at home to help defend versus dropping a lot of High Templars coming in here. But not anything really to kill, as DinGo just is kind of focusing on getting his economy back set up. He must have had to rebuild all of these drones now and can start producing units. Hardly anything here other than High Templar, so some Zerglings would be nice. Trying to spread these lurkers as much as they can so they're not dying to storms. Do not upgrade attack. Well, forgetting one attack upgrade on the Protoss units, which is a little bit of a mistake as well. You want your upgrades to be 3 through 3 here. those little things can make a big difference as well, especially when you are just massing ground units. So many High Templars here. Going to be nice if they can all get successful storms off. A lot of them, though, just kind of throwing down storms massively. They're going to take out a couple of the Guardians. Some Guardians, though, are rebuilding. DinGo really low on economy, but once again is going to be able to hold on to here. Gonna have to hope that another drop doesn't come down while this is all happening. Let me take a little sip of water here. My voice is cracking a bit. Alright, we are good. We are good. Guardians pulling back. A dropship coming in here. Maybe full of High Templars. Is going to move in here. Not going to land, though. Thank goodness for DinGo's sake. As yeah, that could have devastated him. He was really low on minerals there for right before I took that sip, but they have seemed to just jack right back up. Just really has to mass out now, and I think that he can win, but I guess it still is a little bit risky. You do kind of want to make sure you have enough static defense, because just those drops can devastate you. DinGo did have defilers for a little while, but not using them quite as much anymore. More and more Dragoons and High Templars being pushed over. It does have a Dark Archon to Mealstorm any Muta bashes that try to go on his main. Would be very gosu to see that. Don't see Mealstorms at quite as often as you should in this matchup. I guess High Templars are usually pretty good on their own. Don't necessarily need to Mealstorm. Need to drop. I agree. Have to continue to drop. You do not want the Zerg to get super duper rich, and they're just not the most defense here. So if he is able to get past all of these, even just coming from the straight, I think wouldn't be the worst idea. Just coming in straight from your base here, not even taking the long route. We've seen too many High Templars commit suicide today. Is gonna possibly get any Zerg or Protoss fans depression if they watch that too many more times. A couple of nice storms, though, are going to go down. We do see that Defiler back out. Defiler Zergling, I feel like is definitely the best choice versus this Dragoon High Templar build that he is up against right now. And we'll see right now these Dragoons just running past these Lurkers and taking maximum damage to them. More Guardians looking like they're going to be spawned, and DinGo just preparing himself for a counterattack. Not quite feeling it yet, apparently. But he is maxed out, and he does have like the best economy that he has had yet. Adding some creep colonies around his base just to help secure that. And also starting to mine down here as well, just in case those drops get too effective. Is going to see that Teal is starting to mass cannons around. Surprised we haven't seen him really mass cannons out front yet. Does have Arbiters out, and these drops just slowly pushing in. There's no reason not to have a couple more robotics facilities and an extra Stargate or two. But I guess he is just focusing really hard on just pure massing, pure pressuring right now, hoping to get a break off. These more High Templars trying. Okay, there we go. He does use them now. And a couple of storms are going to make quick work of this, but these Cracklings are coming out, and the Cracklings are very good versus Dragoons, and unless you're going to storm yourself, it is going to be tough, but you have to have more than 7 of them. It does have some weird Hydralisks around the map for some reason. Another drop getting locked and loaded. while this is all happening, still no observers are able to stay alive. He has continually moved them forward. A couple of Hydras coming back there. Scourges are going to spot this drop here and take out most of those drop ships. Very nicely done by DinGo spotting that. I don't know if any of these have anything in it. He is going to go for it. Maybe the one did survive. It did survive. The money one did survive, but it does get taken out with all of these Sunkens and Lurkers. It does finally take out those couple of Lurkers that were devastating him earlier. DinGo just continuing to just play defense here for 26 minutes against this crushing Protoss army. So still anybody's game, even though DinGo theoretically should be able to finish it very soon. Hippie actually getting low on minerals himself here, trying to mass so fast. A couple of High Templars going to storm before they get picked off, doing their suicide bomber style. And now we see some Hydralists trying to counterattack, but where is the rest of Gangster's supply? Will you play DinGo now for turning coal? DinGo versus Kokanee is the second round. If they do play, I'm not going to post it until the first round is over. That seems like a fair deal. They have to keep the results secret if they do play. Because yeah, there's no point of posting the second round before the first round is over. Would like it to be all together. Big drop potentially coming over here. I think that's what he was doing down here, was filling that all up with a drop. Going to throw even more units in here, and it's going to try to drop on top of the main, I assume. A couple of Dragoons here are in position with some cannons, so I don't think it's going to make it to the main. A lot of High Templars here as well. This looks like it's going to get thwarted fairly easily. High Templars getting thrown down. One Defiler does get thrown down here to distract, while the rest of these Overlords just get devastated by storms. More than enough High Templars here to destroy that, and yeah, Hippie not going to let that happen. One Lurker gonna slowly get stormed to death here as well. But yeah, DinGo is definitely gonna be able to start going on the offensive now, or at least he should. A lot of Hydras coming in here from the side, going to try to pick off these High Templars. Just so many High Templars here. Corsairs and Arbiters also going to be a pretty good combo, as there isn't any Overlords here right now. And yeah, Hippie going to continue to push out of his base. Needs to find something else to do. Like, this is a good way to stay alive, I guess, but you need to go for some kind of killer blow. He's falling for that mistake that a lot of players do. After a certain while, they stop dropping. When dropping can still turn the tides, no matter how late you are in the game. You can spend that 10,000 minerals and 10,000 gas way quicker than you'd think. Massing up more and more sunken colonies, as a lot of his supply seems to be, I don't even know where a lot of his supply is. Maybe he has too many drones here. Dragoons are pushing forward. I don't see a Defiler here either, so maybe just wildly the Hippie, just like the last game, will abruptly win this match. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. He does have 24 mutas over here, so that is a lot of his supply. He's going to try to use these Defilers and Zerglings to hold on. He does have a lot of Defilers back at home, and if he does do a swarm, this could work. But taking a lot of damage. The Guardian's coming in here while all this is happening, and is not going to successfully take out that main, so he did throw away 24 mutas to only hurt shields on that main. So DinGo, yeah, unsuccessful on his 2 main snipes so far. Hippie very nicely defending it. But still really only managed to take out Sunkens and Spores, not able to really get any substantial damage done. DinGo can just remax now that he has a huge number of hatcheries. Okay, we are back. Jesus, we missed a minute or so there as my recording thing messed up, saying I ran out of disk space. And right in time, we are back just to see that meal storm with the High Templars. So, yeah, I don't think we missed too much here. An Arbiter recall also coming. Maybe we're coming back right in time for all of the action here. Going to get this recall off. It looks like is going to recall. It's going to get a very quick storm off. Doesn't only get the single drone though, so very nice reaction time from DinGo. That was almost an instant storm. But DinGo does manage to pull all that away, so goodness gracious, we came back at a good time. A bunch of storms going to go down there as well. And yes, okay, we are back at her. Just had to double, triple check, make sure we were all good there. And yeah, we are back at her. Yes, okay, we are back at her. Back at her, back at her. DinGo continuing to try to get his main from the top here. It does have now 12,000 gas, 12,000 minerals. So it's just a matter of time before he gets an attack off. Not wanting to just mass up Sunkens at home. He is just continuing to rely on the lurker swarm here. Is going to have to throw a swarm down on these lurkers if he wants to hold off all of these dragooners. They do fall, remaking some of those though. He has pretty much massed up 36 guardians up here, which is most of his supply, and yeah, gonna leave himself a little bit vulnerable as Hippie just has been on a mission attacking this just non-stop. Does have a couple of High Templars and Dark Archon here to help defend versus this, but this is a lot of guardians. Does have to spread these guys out as much as he can. A couple of dragoons coming out here to help as well. High Templar storm, he does get the storm off. Not from this guy though, from one down there. Does throw one down there as well. A nice meal storm going down there. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Meal storm. These dragoons with the storms are going to take pretty good care of this. High Templar is just too OP versus Zerg. Still has 2 more storms locked and loaded. DinGo just not separating these, but at the same time throwing away a couple more suicidal High Templars. And yeah, now he does have a pretty good spread out, and he did manage to keep at least 12, 13, 15 Guardians alive. That is more than enough to snipe a main. Gonna mass up a bunch of more mutas here as well. The Storm's really the only counter that he has, but he has so many High Templars. He's just been massing High Templars all game long. Is picking off a lot of stuff while just staying on the very edge while also defending back at home. I wonder if these overlords are full of stuff. If they are full of defilers and lurkers, it could be good. Maybe just there for detection for that arbiter. Bringing up to what, 24 more meters that he is going to make in the guards, and now he does have kind of a way in here. Hippie going to send up for reinforcement. No, he's just going to run in here now with the meters. Not even going to turn them into guards, and he's finally going to get that main. So mineral collection has altogether stopped here for Hippie, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before DinGo slowly picks him apart now, since his main strategy has just been massing. Massing takes up so many more minerals, and Hippie will go poor, I think, before DinGo's main will break here. It is nice to freeze all these units up, has a lot of block supply here, but what is he going to do with these defilers and these swarms? Very nicely done here by DinGo, looking like he is going to finally win after a very long second game here. Not an easy position though to win cross spawns. Zerg versus Protoss. Drop coming in here, but I think it's a little too late. No Corsairs either, so this could just possibly get picked off, but not a crazy amount of defense, so any drop is possible. It is land. It did have more than enough time to storm, but does not do so. And now it looks like he is just being sandwiched in. And it's just, I think it's just a matter of time. I think this is GG. Even loading up some units up here is going to start dropping them down there. Just really spot abusing this Protoss player now. Was vulnerable for a... kept the Zerg on his toes, but just didn't quite have the proper units, I guess. Unit combination to take out Mr. DinGo. DinGo just always having an answer and just continuing to defend. And yeah, no easy feat, but looks like DinGo is going to save himself from an upset here. Still not going to be game over yet. Hippie's not going to give up, but I think he is going to slowly but surely run out of minerals here. These Guardians and little harassments aren't going to stop from the top. And now he's just going to be able to mass in with his Lurker, Defiler, Hydra, Guardian. These High Templars, really the main splash damage, the main thing of this unit. And don't get me wrong, they are pretty good, but they do run out eventually. And it takes a while for the storms to come once they are built. Another little meal storm. I'm going to go down, stopping the Overlord that had the Defiler in it. But still, there we go. The Defiler is down. I'm going to swarm that now. Going to be in range of all those drones. And GG is called. DinGo is going to get a 2-0. Well played by him in a very, very long series. But gonna save himself the upset, wins in a tough position with that Zerg, and is going to advance to the second round versus Kokanee. And a much anticipated BM filled match. Should be a good one. Should see some BM when that match does go down. But well done, Gangster DinGo. Very good effort from Hippie. We'll throw up that bracket now so you guys can check it out. 41-minute game. GG, well played, and yeah, very nicely played by Hippie, but better play by DinGo is going to win that. Almost won that first game. Hippie just had a couple, just not having lurkers. He could have got forces to a game 3, but GG, not gonna happen. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.